Well, I have been talking for 15 minutes and I forgot to hit record. So let's try this again as we talk about my keys decisions for the new season. We are now in the season. It's already started. The new Brave New World season in Marvel Snap in association with the new Captain America movie that comes out in 10 days, Brave New World. As a quick note, if you are interested in the movie or interested in the MCU in general, I have decided that I am going to make my glorious return to podcasting. I actually had a podcast that I did for 3 years. I haven't posted anything for like 2.5, 3 years. I actually went to film school before I got married and ended up dropping out, so I have a background in film. I love filmmaking. That's what the podcast is about, is reviewing movies. And I've decided, been missing the podcast for years now, and I've just decided now's the time in my life I'm going to bring it back. Felt like a good opportunity crossing over between Marvel Snap and movies. So if you're interested in that podcast, it is in the pinned comment or in the description, both the YouTube link and then all other places you can find the podcast. If you're interested in my thoughts in the upcoming Captain America movie, and then plenty of other movies throughout the year. But you're not here for that. You are here for the card. Let's talk about it. The season pass card for this season in Sam Wilson Captain America, which comes with the token card, Captain America's Shield. We'll talk about that because at game start, when this Captain America Sam Wilson is in your deck, he will add Cap Shield to a random location. Ongoing, you can move Cap Shield. So that shield will be on your board, but you cannot move it without a move enabler, like Madam Web or something, until Captain America is face up on your board. So turn 3, without location help, is the soonest that you're going to be able to play or to move the shield. So why is moving the shield important? Why do we even want to do that? Well, this Captain America shield that is generated on the board, it's a 1/1, so automatically priority winner. Maybe that will be impactful. I don't know. But ongoing, this can't be destroyed, which is great. And then when you move it, give your Cap +2 power when this moves to Cap's location. It's confirmed that does work with Sam Wilson Captain America and the regular Steve Rogers Captain America we've had for a while. I'm trying really hard to preserve my thoughts on this card for when you watch the video of the gameplay, which has not been recorded yet. I'm trying to get through this quickly to record. I have been playing with this card. I have been testing it. Overall, even before I played with it, I thought that this card was extremely interesting and just excited me as a new way to play the game. I've seen in Discord, even in my own Alliance Discord, on YouTube video comments, people are saying, I might skip every single card this month, including the Season Pass. This might be the first time I don't buy the Season Pass. I can understand that. I think that this is like the most non-essential Season Pass card. They may buff it if sales are down, right? They want this, that's the way money works. And also the tie into the movie, there's an important stake that Marvel, not Second Dinner, but Marvel has in this. I don't know how much involvement that they have, but we'll see. Maybe the shield will be able to move an arm. It'll go +3. I don't think that this +2 power to either captain is going to be what's particularly impactful about this card. I think all the other things that the card will do in allowing you to play uniquely is what excites me greatly. And to tip my hand a little bit, it has been very, very fun to play. Is it strong? I don't know. Obviously, I mentioned that I got the Season Pass. I always think the Season Pass is worth it from all the other things you get and the value. You also get a new card, which, if nothing else, is just a fun thing to play. You don't always need to play the most meta, most performing thing ever. Sometimes you just play decks that are fun, and I definitely think that this card, Sam Wilson Captain America, is going to achieve that fun aspect. So, moving on to what you're really here for, what am I spending my keys on? What do I think someone else might spend their keys on? We have our first card that's going to be in Spotlight same day the season starts, February 4th today, Joaquin Torres Falcon. He's the character that took on the mantle of Falcon when Sam Wilson became Captain America, which I will say, from a game design standpoint in association with the IP of Marvel, I think Second Dinner always does a great job with that, in my opinion. But I think this card, Captain America's Shield and Sam Wilson Captain America, might be the best that they have done in incorporating the IP of the card into the game design of the card. I think they have done a phenomenal job. It excites me. They actually kind of blew me away with how perfectly they captured the lore of this character and his association to the Shield and his association to Captain America. Very cool with the game design. Moving on, let's talk about Joaquin Torres Falcon. His ability, this is incorrect. He's actually a 3/4. They buffed him, which may maybe not be good. But his ability, ongoing, the on-reveal abilities of your one-cost cards here happen twice. I have been excited for this card and for this season, also before they neutered Redwing, because I love Bounce. Bounce is one of my all-time favorite archetypes, and I think Joaquin Torres is a very, very interesting card in Bounce. I have already spent my keys on Joaquin Torres. I was planning on spending my keys on Joaquin Torres before I made this video, before I even spent my keys. I was looking forward to getting this card. I knew I was going to get it day one. I've yet to play a single game with it, so I have no thoughts about it, except for I think it's very interesting. However, what do I think other people should spend their resources on? We're going to talk about this Spotlight Cache in a second, but just specifically Joaquin Torres. I think he is the most maybe card of the whole season. Most of the other cards, in fact, all the other cards, I'm pretty confidently saying yes or no. But Joaquin Torres, I'm a strong maybe. Let's see the data. Let's see what decks people come up with. I think similar to Frigga, he might get better with time, and I think as people try to figure out how to benefit from him versus just benefiting from playing something like Wong. Again, maybe he'll be buffed, we'll see. I don't think so. I think he's just going to be as is, but I think he's very interesting. I think he might have a place in some weird combination of a mill deck, or I think he might have a good place in some weird combination of a bounce, zoo-ish style deck. I think it will be quite interesting. Hitmonkey deck, maybe. I'm excited to try the card. Especially with Moonstone. Interesting combo there. But I think it's one that you definitely should wait on. See the performance. Because it's either going to be pretty good, or it's just going to be, I've got Wong. That's good enough. And then you can skip. Let's talk about the week, though, because this week it comes with Makari and Nomura. Overall, I think all of these variants are very cool. I have already spent my keys, so I can tell you what happened. I wanted Joaquin Torres, and I already have Nomura, but I also wanted Makari. So I was kind of hoping for a 2-key this week. I had a 3-key. The first one was a duplicate of Surtur, which actually wasn't bad because I got the 2,000 tokens. That's actually quite nice, but I was able, and then I got Joaquin Torres, and then I gambled one more on the advice of my Alliance Discord that Makari is actually a pretty good card, which I agree with. I think overall that this is actually a really good week. Depending on how Joaquin Torres is, this may be a great week because I think Nomura and Makari are two cards that people dramatically sleep on. Obviously not in the same deck, but Makari's free power on your board, and Nomura is high power on your board that can do really great things with cards like Scarlet Spider and Captain Marvel especially. I made a video about a Nomura deck with Scar and Galacta and Captain Marvel. I've been loving that deck. My goodness, is that deck really, really fun. If you get either one of these cards, don't be sad because they have their place. They have their shells that they fit in. And surprisingly, I think they're shells that people just don't play because they don't have the wow factor. And they're also not the most popular thing. So they're not meta. It's interesting to me that the meta is both derived by competitive and popular. And I think both of these cards, Makari and Nomura, are competitive but not popular. So that's why I'm giving it good. If depending on how Joaquin Torres goes, maybe it's a great week. Let's move on, though, and talk about Thaddeus Ross. The next card, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. My goodness, is that a name? I've also been talking a lot, so let's try and speed this up. His ability, when your opponent ends a turn with unspent energy, draw a card with 10 or more power as a 2/2 card. I'm not planning on spending my keys on this. I go back and forth between trying to be a creator and have all the new cards to make decks that are relevant to people versus just preserving my own keys collection and planning for the cards that I really want. I don't play a lot of 10-powered cards, like the big chonky boys, as Alex Kosha calls them. I just don't play. It's just not my play style. Surtur was fun when he came out, and I've just since moved on from it. Not very fun for me. Not saying it's bad, just not fun for me. So I actually think that Thaddeus Ross is going to be better outside of Surtur, but it just doesn't really match my playstyle, so I'm totally okay skipping him. However, I am always willing to spend my keys depending on how things go, but so far, it's most likely a no. Especially when we look at this week, and I already have Nebula and Blink, although being a card that I think is extremely interesting and I do want in my collection, it's not one that I'm particularly hungering for, so I'm okay. I do think the Electro Blink line is one of my favorite things, but so far I've been enjoying Electro into Misery. That's actually a really, really fun combo. So Nebula and Blink are actually carrying this week a lot. Nebula in particular, I'm giving this an okay rating. I think Nebula is a phenomenal card, and I think Blink is a good card. Both of them cards that are kind of ignored because they're just kind of straightforward, like Speed. Thaddeus is taking this week down a lot, and Nebula is carrying this week. Like, if it wasn't for Nebula, I would just say this is a bad week, but Nebula takes it into that okay category. Because I already have Nebula, I'm probably not spending my keys. If Thaddeus is okay, if people figure out some shells for him, maybe I'll roll my keys, hoping that I get Blink, but so far, not planning on spending my keys. Let's move on and talk about Redwing, the next card, which makes me very sad that his ability has completely changed. He was originally going to be a great bounce enabler, which was cool because in the lore, you would have Redwing, Joaquin Torres Falcon, and Falcon, who would be synergistic in a bounce deck, and it was going to be glorious, and I was super excited for it, and then that didn't happen, and we have this weird clunky, the first time this moves, add a card from your hand to the old location. Maybe that's going to work with Heimdall, especially if you throw that Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross in there so that you can draw your Heimdall and then you play your Redwing and then turn 6, you move your Redwing with your Heimdall, whatever. I don't know. Maybe there's something interesting in there. We'll see. Someone's probably going to cook something up with those two cards together. But so far, when we look at this card and how weird it is and how clunky it is and how uninteresting it is, especially because it got the 2099 treatment that it's only the first time it moves, not every time. And we look at the Spotlight Week, Baron Zemo and Loki are two cards that I already have. So for me, unless Redwing does something pretty amazing, I'm completely skipping this week. As much as I have FOMO that like, oh man, I think Redwing's a cool character, I didn't want to get it, and I wish it was bounced, like I'm not going to let myself FOMO into it. I do think this week is good. I think Redwing is very clunky and very narrow. Loki has completely fallen off while being a very interesting card and one that may come back eventually. I think that's a card they want to revive in some way. Baron Zemo is a good card, and he has a lot of popularity in Mill right now, which is super annoying, but that's fine. So, again, similar to Nebula, Zemo doing a lot of heavy lifting here, but because I have both of them, and Redwing is not very interesting to me, as cool as this variant is, I'm probably skipping this entire week. So let's move on and talk about Diamondback. I think this is the card that people are most interested in, and I think that's entirely valid. It's a 3/3 card, ongoing. Enemy cards here afflicted with negative power have an additional -2 power. Actually, is Diamondback... No. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of a different card. My bad. Yes, this is correct. Which, my goodness, in toxic decks, which are already everywhere, right? One that with Ajax that I've been playing, this card is going to be huge. You can put Ajax in a location and win that lane with Ajax. You now put Diamondback in another location and you win that with Diamondback. Like, super, super interesting card. I think this is the one that most people are excited about for a good reason. Again, its application is very narrow because you've got to be able to give cards negative power. But put this in a location with Rocket Raccoon and Groot. There you go, right? And the fact that it's an ongoing ability that you can play it late, you can play it early, and it still has that, it's pretty sweet. So let's take a look at the spotlights. We have this sweet Diamondback variant, this pretty cool Nimrod variant, and a pretty good Phoenix Force variant. Overall, I'm giving this a great. I was kind of hesitant to just give it good, but I'm going to give it great. I already have Nimrod, so that lowers it for me. But if I didn't have Nimrod, I'd be spending my keys. No questions asked. I think Phoenix Force is an extremely interesting deck to play. And you can't play a Phoenix Force deck without Phoenix Force. I think most people should be playing Phoenix Force decks, and Nimrod is a part of that. So I think this is one that gives you like a new deck option with Phoenix Force and Nimrod. It's a week that I particularly am very, very interested in. We will see, but I'm probably going to try and get all 3 cards with my keys because I've been wanting Phoenix Force for the longest time. So that is the last card. Let's move on to all the other things you need to know about this season. That's how I'm planning on spending my keys. Again, I always recommend that people wait, especially with these cards being kind of meh this season. Even with the season pass, the great news is, with all the keys in the spotlight, you have a whole week. With the season pass, you have a whole month. You don't have to FOMO and get it initially. There's some good things in here. And also, keep in mind, as someone who's an incomplete collection player, myself included, the spotlight system is actually pretty great because being able to get a card like Phoenix Force is just as exciting to me as Diamondback is. And I hope it is to you as well. Maybe not Phoenix Force. Maybe it's something like Baron Zemo. I don't know what it is. But the system is there to service you in helping you get those cards. And I think that there are some decent cards that you could go after this week. They're not the most exciting thing. They're not the most meta relevant. They're not even the most popular, but they are good cards to play. So if you can fix your mindset a little bit, not be consumed with only the popular thing, you could get some good cards this month. So let's move on from cards and talk about all the other cool details you need to know this season, because there's a lot happening, starting with Sanctum Showdown, which is a new limited time game mode starting February 18th and going to March 4th, the last day of the season. So we'll go the last 2 weeks of the season. It is a really, really cool game mode. You've probably seen so much about it. I cannot explain it properly, but in essence, you're going to try and control a location, and each location that you're winning, you gain a point for. Each person, the first person to get to, I think it's 16 points, wins. How I think that it's very, very cool that they included Captain America Sam Wilson in the same time that Sanctum Showdown is happening, because talk about movable power being significant when the worth of the locations changes. I think it's a cool synergy. We'll see how the game goes, but this is why you should be interested, is an opportunity to get free cards. I think that KM Best said it best when he said, we need to make sure we have the right this isn't quoting, but need to have the right expectations for us. People are getting excited because you have the potential to hypothetically get 7 new cards, because in this new game mode, there will be 3 new cards, Uncle Ben, Gorgon, and Laufey, that you'll be able to get specifically through this game mode. In addition, you will have 4 opportunities, similar to the Conquest shop, but you have 4. You can purchase it 4 times using the currency you get from Sanctum Showdown. You can get 4 unowned Series 4 or 5 cards. You can also get variants, emotes, new glyph borders, cosmic borders, credits, and a bunch of other things. The shop is pretty cool. Here's an example of the cards you'll be able to get, and here's an example of the shop. How possible is it to get 2,250 of these currencies? I don't know. I think some people are doing ridiculous math. This person has both cards, and they have 355. Earn these by winning location points, right? I wish I could click this question mark and find out, right? Do you only get, so like if you get if you get 16 points in a game and you won, did you get 16 currency? Because that would take forever. I'm sure it's going to be exactly like high voltage, where you actually get, sure, you got volts in high voltage by winning games, but you got more volts and you got closer to winning, and the volts that actually contributed you to getting the free card were through the missions. I think they'll have something similar. Will you be able to clear out the entire shop and get everything in it? I don't know. If you have a real job like me, maybe not. But we'll see. I don't want to say either way, but I think understanding that you'll be able to get 2 or 3 new cards, whether that's these 3 or 2 unowned cards, that's a sweet free game mode. I also think it's cool that Marvel Snap and Second Dinner is taking the approach that, hey, in addition to the new card, let's give them an option to get other cards. Like, what another opportunity to improve card acquisition. I think that's cool. I'm also just excited for this game mode. I love game modes, and I like dynamic game modes that require a little bit more of the engagement of the player to be a little bit less just let me put power on the board. You got to be a lot more strategic, so that excites me. So let's talk about the Sanctum cards quickly and get this video on the road. The first one we have is Uncle Ben. He's finally here, and it is his destiny to die. When this card is destroyed, replace it with Spider-Man, which is now a 2/4 card. Wow, that is super interesting. I think it's kind of a meme, and I think this is a great way to release this card. Like, what a fun card. Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I don't think it's just horrible. I think people are just kind of treating it like, oh, this is an awful card, I'm not interested. I think you're going to be able to do some pretty interesting things with it in a clog-style destroy combination deck, because you could clog a location and then destroy it, and then in doing so, you move your Uncle Ben with the Spider-Man, and then you send something over with Viper next turn. Who knows? I don't know. It's interesting. I think it's cool. Then we have the other card, Gorgon, which is ongoing. Your opponent's cards that didn't start in their deck cost 1 more. So a tech card against Erisham, those Victoria Hand generation cards. It's interesting as a tech card because if you don't play against Erisham or Victoria Hand, like, you hate that he's in your deck. However, and it kind of reveals the deck that I've been playing with the Sam Wilson Captain America. Ongoing Spectrum-focused decks are looking for a valuable ongoing 2-cost card. Gorgon is a great option because it's a combination of a 2-cost ongoing card and a tech card. I think he could have a place here, especially with the other cards that we have this season. But we'll see. Overall, it's kind of a mediocre card. And then we have Laufey. He is the last card, which on reveal, steal 1 power from each other card here. That includes your own. So if you play this in a full location, you're going to benefit, net neutral on your own cards, but you'll gain from your opponent's cards, which is pretty sweet. Overall, I think this is the strongest card of the whole event. Very interesting, especially interesting combination with cards like Diamondback and Ajax and all the negative affliction cards we're used to. Now, we also have new locations coming. There's a lot happening this season. We have Madripoor, which is, after each turn, give the highest cost cards here plus 2 power. It took me a second to realize that this is talking about cost, not power. Like, super, super interesting. So if you have a 3-cost card here and your opponent has a 2, that card just got plus 2 power. Maybe Shadow King is going to go crazy when this is the featured location, but overall, I think it's kind of cool. The next one we have is the Smithsonian Museum, which is also very, very fitting with all the cards that will want to go there, like Captain America. Your cards here have plus 1 power for each ongoing among them, kind of an ongoing ability itself. Like, right? This is after each turn. This one is just constant. Your cards here have +1 power for each ongoing among them. So that means that if you have a full location of ongoing cards, you have +4 power at this location, which is pretty cool. Then we also have character mastery covering. We pretty much know nothing about it. I think people making assumptions about it, again, is ridiculous. Just wait till you get the information. It is coming very soon when the patch and the OTA happen on February 11th. It's like 7 days away. But nonetheless, I'm extremely excited for this. I am kind of sad that it seems like it's going to be more cosmetic purchase focused, right? How many variants do you have? How many splits do you have? Instead, I would love to get a mission like reveal 700 locations with a Watu, right? I've got a Watu card that I have yet to get a variant for, so give me one in character mastery, right? Get Deadpool up to 100 power. Is that even possible? I don't think so. Get, bounce 40 cards back to your hands with Beast. Like things focused on achieving something with a card, I think is quite interesting. From a technical standpoint, that may be impossible, and that may be why it was scrapped and character mastery went away. Maybe they were going that angle, and so from a technical standpoint, they had to go this other direction. I don't know. I'm not making assumptions about what it is. I think it's cool, right? Another way to have cosmetics in the game, which I think the card customization is one of the best. So, card mastery coming February 11th. Then we have, lastly, Twitch drops. I think this is the last thing. Yes, it is. Twitch drops. This starts the same day as Sanctum Showdown, which is very fitting, from February 18th to 24th. You have your option if you sync your Marvel Snap account to your Twitch account. If you watch for 2 hours, you get 65 random boosters. 4 hours, 250 credits, and 6 hours of premium mystery brand. Not bad. So Twitch drops are happening. Maybe if life works out, maybe I'll create a Twitch account and I'll stream. Probably not. I don't even think my internet could handle it, but I will at least be watching Twitch stream, so there's that. Let's rate the cards now. Whoops, it's already revealed for Sam Wilson. Let me give you my star rating for each of these cards. Without giving too much of my opinion of the card, I'm saving that for the video on him. I'll be recording right after this. I think Sam Wilson, Captain America, is a 4-star card. I think what he does is interesting. I think what he does has the potential to be powerful, even if it is unexciting and not the most popular thing. I think it's a fun thing. Joaquin Torres Falcon is a 3-star card for me. Maybe he'll get higher, but he's just very, very niche. And unless he does something particularly impactful, he's just kind of clunky. And maybe, if you play the Hood on here, and then, because you could also do it later, right? You play the Hood and America Chavez in a location, and then Joaquin Torres, and then play Misery there. You now have 3 demons, and you're not the initial card from America Chavez, but that other card has +4 power, right? That's not nothing. Could be something, so that's why it is a 3-star card. Again, very narrow. We'll see. Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross is a 2-star card. Maybe he could do something interesting. He's not a 1-star card. He does something that is valuable, especially with Red Hulk. If that's only 10 power card in your hand, you would probably kind of waste of, 1 card for 1 card, but we'll see. However, very uninteresting to me. Redwing, 2-star card. They butchered it. This card could have been sweet in bounce, probably OP. The current version, not interested in playing, but we'll see what happens. It's a 2-star card. Diamondback, I'm giving a 4-star card. I think this card has the potential to be incredibly impactful and give you an option to get a lane particularly tall or short for your opponent in Affliction-style decks, which is a great thing as you have Ajax going really tall. Uncle Ben is a 2-star card, not a 1, because I think what he could do, someone's going to cook up something quite interesting. If nothing less, he's definitely a fun card to play. Gorgon is a 3-star card. I actually meant to put this as a 2-star card, so forgive me, this graphic is wrong. If I did have stars, it would be a 2.5, because as a tech card, it's amazing, but Mobius and Mobius, it's just hard to play him. But when they matter in the meta, in fact, I've been playing Mobius today. He's winning me so many games. So much of the meta counts on discounting cards right now. So maybe if Airshim gets super relevant, or Victoria Hand pops off, or something, or next season when we have Agamotto, who adds cards to your hand, and everyone's playing the new Kate Bishop, right? Gorgon will be relevant. And lastly, we have Laufey is a 4-star card. Obviously, the power from this guy is highly potential. And again, while he's going tall, your opponent's location is going short. So, 4-star card. So, those are my decisions, how I'm spending my keys and my in-real-life money. That was a lot of talking, 25 minutes telling you about the season, Brave New World. Again, if you're interested in my thoughts on the movie when it comes out in 10 days, you can subscribe to my podcast as well. But nonetheless, if you're not subscribed here and you made it all the way to the end, my voice is already getting raspy. I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe here as well. Anyway, thanks a ton for watching. I really, really do mean that. And enjoy the season. I think it's going to be fun.